Hello. Sorry about this. It's New York traffic and other stuff.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for coming. Tonight, Borders is pleased to welcome Guillermo Del Toro and Chuck Hogan. Mr. Del Toro. Mr. Del Toro was born in Guadalajara, Mexico, and is a screenwriter, producer, director, and author. His film credits include the Hellboy franchise, Blade 2, Pan's Labyrinth, and the upcoming adaptation of The Hobbit.
And Devil's Backbone.
Yes!
Mr. Hogan was born in Boston, Massachusetts, and is an award-winning author, whose published novels include Prince of Thieves, which has been adapted into the current #1 film in the box office, The Town. They both join us tonight on the release of The Fall, which is the second part of the Strain trilogy. Their first novel, The Strain, was released in 2009 and was a national bestseller. In The Strain, we were introduced to Dr. Ephraim Goodweather, who is investigating a plane that lands in New York and full of corpses. Dr. Goodweather soon learned...
the one I came in yesterday.
Dr. Goodweather soon learns that we live in the midst of a brewing war between Old World and New World vampires. In The Fall, the war erupts with the lowly humans caught in the middle. With Manhattan devolving into chaos, Dr. Goodweather and his team, which includes an old pawnbroker very familiar with fighting vampires, and a retired wrestler from Mexico, they face off against the vampire master. In the words of my coworker, it's a pretty awesome series.
Excellent.
So, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Guillermo Del Toro and Chuck Hogan.
Thanks for coming. Sorry, we are a little late.
And ugly.
We're just going to speak briefly, and hopefully you have some questions. Hopefully you have one from me, even. I mean, what happened? Just kidding. We one of the things that most excited me way back when we first met, and I was looking at the outline that Guillermo came up with, was the fact that of his proposed the arc of the story, you know, there was no letdown. This second book is not your typical second book. It's not your typical bridge, you know, between two more exciting books. It's very much book 1, book 2, book 3. And I kind of liken it to, I have 4 young children, and what they do when they're going to play is, you know, they spend a lot of time setting up their guys. If it's Legos or whatever, they build it, and that was sort of book 1. That's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun setting it up and getting ready. Book 2 is where we really get to play. You know, you have the guy come in and everything's there, and you just lose yourself in the action. Book 3 is when we start to get
we burn the fucking
a little rambunctious, yeah. Knock everything over and then go looking for snacks. You know, 'cause we're hungry. So it's been so much fun, and the response to the second book has been great, and it's really exciting to be able to finally have it out here and have people reading it.
Yes. And you mind if I take off? It's the only jacket I have, and it's hot as fuck. So you may get a glimpse of a little jiggle here and there. I will tone up for the next book. You know, with the vibrating shit that they sell. It looks like a hand job, doesn't it? It's really fucking disgusting. Now, you know, we had a lot of fun writing the first book, but the second book is we're really familiar with each other. Oh, there's kids. I'm sorry. You didn't understand anything, so don't ask. Anyway, and I will mind my mouth from now on. I apologize sincerely. I think that the beauty of these books is that we were trying to, hopefully, in the 3 books, reformulate vampire mythology, and to be able to show you the biological intricacies and disgusting details, but the fascinating details of vampire biology, and give a new origin to the whole thing in the 3rd book. It's hinted already in the 2nd book, but partnering with Chuck has been quite a trip. I originally started partnering with him because I thought he would take care of the procedural stuff, the hard-boiled drama, this and that, and he has turned out to be a very sick man. And he's coming up with some of the worst, most gory details on his own. And I end up doing some of the procedural stuff. So it's been, and we've been surprising each other. If you guys read the first book? Excellent. And you know, Chuck came up with the character of Fett, the exterminator, out of left field. And in the second book, I was able to surprise him with a Mexican masked wrestler. So that was my gift back. I wanted to do that because I always wanted to tackle a character that was a 60-something-year-old wrestler that had been a star in Mexico. He was now retired, cleaning in an Indian restaurant, and finally, at the end of his days, he gets to put that mask again and again fight vampires. You know, but do it for real. There's no hokiness, no postmodern irony. We do it in a really beautiful way. I hope you guys enjoy it. And because we're going to talk a lot, we want to right away open for questions. So please ask me about diet, any advice you need nutritionally. We're here. Yes.
Hi. Brazil loves you guys.
Oh, thank you. Molto obrigado.
I was wondering, how does it work to write not a series, not only a series, but books, having two authors pretty much? How do you guys work to get the plot together and to bumping heads along the way?
I'll repeat the question. She told me, who does your clothing because you dress fabulous? And she also said, how does it work to collaborate two writers into a whole series, 3 books, and so on and so forth?
Yeah, I mean, it works really well. I'm not sure it would work as well with anyone else. Guillermo's phenomenal. He's the ultimate resource for any question I have. And it's just very free back and forth. But basically, we meet before the book, and we have sort of a long, maybe a 4-day breakfast where we talk over everything and get sort of a general outline. I mean, we know the story, but obviously, we can try to grow it out a little. From that, we go back and forth to make it even longer, and then during that process. Normally what happens is Guillermo will say, I think I want to do that section. Oh, that section was good. I think I want to do that. I'm doing that section. I have some research that I did on Sumerian archaeology, so I'll take that one and stuff like that. So he takes the most appetizing looking fruit, and I'll do some, and then we just it's really back and forth, a lot of email tennis, and it comes together.
But the thing is that also the stuff that I'm a disgusting, repulsive hoarder. So I take everything that looks really appetizing in the book. I'll write that, and then the secret of Chuck is that everything that I thought was not appetizing, he writes fabulously and makes me feel like crap. See, I said crap. I have mental control. And then we exchange, and he rewrites what I did and edits what I did, and we go back and forth. And then we have a third partner in David Highfield, our editor. We sent him the stuff. Originally, for example, if you read the opening of the book, originally we used to open differently. We used to open with the Mole People chapter, but none of our characters was there. And then David said, we would like to open with another chapter, and Chuck said, well, I just so happen to have one here. and we went back and forth, and that chapter with the Mole People was written later with Fett in the middle of the chapter. So, it's a very fluid process. I'm not very proprietary because I'm used to co-writing. I mean, I've written 21 screenplays, I think, and out of the 21, I have co-written about 10. So, my writing partner normally is a guy called Matthew Robbins, who's an idol of mine. He did a movie that was fundamental in my childhood called Dragon Slayer. And we go back and forth. He wrote Sugar on the Express, and he's a really firm partner. And Chuck is the same way. He and I will defend our different points of view and defer ultimately to the one that shouts the most.
I'm going to guess that perhaps the masked man is Santo, Enmascarado de Plata.
The masked wrestler is an amalgam of all the wrestlers I loved, and I even give him a backstory that the thing that he has in common with El Santo is obviously the silver. The fact that, I mean, because it's vampires, I want it to be silver, which is very appropriate. And you know, the fact that El Santo also started like a rudo, like a bad guy, and he became a technical, he became a good guy, you know, and I was obsessed with lucha libre as a kid. In Mexico, we take that stuff very seriously. You guys have Spider-Man, we have fat people in masks. And we love it. We love it. I mean, you have no idea how important these figures were for me, as you can see. No, but it was very important for me. And my father used to take my brother every week to the lucha libre, and he didn't take me. And I would see them on TV, and my brother was a horrible grin. And he would be saying hi, and I would be, why didn't he take me? It was like East of Eden with masks.
I remember the black and white films, and I also remember the comic book that was a mix of photographs and drawings.
Yeah, Fumetti.
So I raised with that. I'm wondering, why hasn't a good, well-made film been made on Santo?
I'll be happy to answer that. I gave a few introductions for the collection that came out on DVDs.